Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for joining me. Brutal cold air is diving from the northern plains and into the southern plains. Some heavy snow is possible as far south as the Gulf of Mexico. Your forecast update and a look at the weather across the country begins right now. But first, let's start with a look at watches and warnings across the entire nation as we take a look at a few of these. It's pretty impressive with regards to how far south the cold air warnings, watches, and advisories go. So we'll start in the northern plains where we have just literally cold weather warnings in place through most of North Dakota and northern Minnesota, including portions of Wisconsin. This reaches all the way out into the plains, the high plains of Wyoming, and into parts of South Dakota near the Black Hills. Now, what you see in yellow is a cold weather watch. Some new terminology by the National Weather Service to simplify and consolidate wind chills, because the only warning there was available to the National Weather Service for cold weather were wind chill products. Even when there was no wind and we didn't have a wind chill per se, there was not a good product for using in those circumstances. There are cold weather watches as far as the deep south. The purple area is here near Shreveport. That's a freeze warning, folks. Hard freeze. A freeze is when we get down to temperatures below 32 degrees for more than a couple of hours. And this also includes areas near Gainesville, Jacksonville, Florida, all the way up into Brunswick and the Carolinas, as well as, Georgia. So it does look like we have some cold weather taking hold there. The light blue counties, as you see here, cold weather advisories that extend all the way through the Gulf of Mexico and right up into the New England states, which does include Philadelphia, portions of New York, also all the way out towards Trenton, New Jersey, as well. As the cold air grips the nation, we still have problems with lake effect snow, by the way. Lake effect snow warning for the next 6 hours as we go into your Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, with a look at that. Now, look at the national weather. Looks to be fairly quiet out in the far west. We get down into portions of California. We do have some concerns with very high winds continuing. Red flag warnings for definitely burning dangers. Then as we look up in the northern part of the state, we still have some freeze warning conditions expected there. And up in the Visala area, we have a freeze watch it effect for the central parts of the valley in parts of California, rather. So that is a look there. Now let's take a quick look at what's going on temperature-wise across the nation. To do that, I want to show you this. This is really impressive with regard to the cold air in the nation. Now, where you see this blue shade here, that's freezing weather. And it's made its way into South Carolina. It's made its way down all the way to the Gulf Coast right now with New Orleans at 37 degrees right now. Look at Miami. It's 75 in Miami, and it's almost 30 degrees cooler in Jacksonville at this hour. So the cold air is definitely taking hold. Now, the sub-zero air, look at this ridiculousness. Actual air temperatures 15 to 20 below in northern Minnesota, central Minnesota, 20 below zero. And in Fargo, North Dakota right now, it's 15 degrees below zero. Factor in the winds that are ripping with some gusts over 30 miles per hour at times, and conditions in the Red River Valley of North Dakota and much of Minnesota into North Dakota are absolutely brutal. Can you imagine what it feels like when it feels like it's 50 below zero? This is Estevan or southern Manitoba here, 40 to 50 below, and 44 below right now in Minot. This cold, nasty wind chill has reached all the way into the UP of Michigan and diving south into parts of southern and central Wisconsin right now, with Milwaukee about 15 below zero as we head into the evening as far as feels like temperatures. Add in the wind down south, and it feels like 16 degrees right now in the ATL. We have 18 degree feels like temperature in Montgomery, Alabama. Shreveport 23 is what it feels like. Look at Houston. It feels like 30 degrees there, with the cold taking hold all the way south of Vegas as we zoom in just a little bit closer here. It feels like 11 as we go in towards the area here in southwestern parts, Cedar City, in the state of Utah. So it's very cold, 40s for wind chills down in portions of California as this system works its way through. Now, there's going to be a chance of some snow in the next 24 hours. Let's go for a look at the national forecast here. One moment while we load that up for you. What we're going to see here is a peek at the forecast for some snow potential in the southern plains as far south as the Gulf of Mexico. So while I load that up, I beg your forgiveness here while I load the content up. Here we go. All right. Now, what we're going to look at for the most part is what's going on down here as we focus in on the southern plains. So let me do this. I'm going to sneak over here, make sure we can see what we need to. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to see here is the exiting of the storm system that brought the snow to the playoff games tonight and the beginning of a storm system out here in the Gulf of Mexico. That system, as it works its way in towards Louisiana, is going to bring with it a chance for some snowfall. Check this out. Cold air in Texas, Louisiana will bring a band of ice along the coast. Once you get close to the coast and that water surface temperature helps to mitigate some of the surface freezing, that will help, but you don't have to go far inland to see some snowfall potential. And this is heavy snow where you see the dark blue shades here moving into places like Alexandria, maybe down south into New Orleans for sure. You get down into Tupelo, could be some snow in there as well. Now, as you go in to the day on Tuesday evening, that snow system and ice system along the coast moves into the panhandle of Florida, most of Alabama, and into South Carolina before it moves offshore. And notice this. There's this expansion of this low pressure area here that allows for snow all the way into North Carolina before exiting. The cold air is spilling in behind it as well, bringing some ridiculous temperatures. How ridiculous, you say? Well, let me grab a look at the temperature values and then we'll look at snowfall. So stay right here. Now, as we're taking a look at the temperature values here, we'll point out that as we go into Tuesday morning, this is 6 a.m. Central Time, and the temperatures here will be in the 20s below zero across parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan. You'll get down to near zero, above or below, throughout the state of Missouri, all the way into Kansas. And then look at these temperatures down here along the Gulf Coast. Along the southeastern United States on the Atlantic side here, we're expecting temperatures to be very close to or below freezing, all the way here where you see the blue colors. Notice it warms up quite handily as you go into the southern parts of Florida. Now, heading into early in the week as we go into that snow system working its way through. Behind it, it's sucking in some pretty cold air. Now, the coldest blob of air, as you saw here in the purple, will work its way right off through the Great Lakes and right into the northeastern United States, allowing for a little bit of a warm-up by midweek in the northern plains. Much deserved after wind chills in the 45 to 60 below category are anticipated in and around Fargo and northern Minnesota and northern North Dakota. Now let's take a peek at those snowfall potentials, but to do this I'm going to zoom in to the area of concern in the deep south. So here we go. While I switch this map view out for you, we're going to start in and around Texas and Louisiana, and then we'll follow the storm across. What we're going to switch this over to is snowfall potential, and I am using the European model for this because I think it does the better job when we're out a little bit more than a day and a half or two. So here we go with snow showers that will really be picking up. If you look into the Houston area right here, that would be right in this general area and on down towards Brownsville, and you get up into Louisiana, we're going to have some areas right here, inland especially, where we're going to see the potential. You see how this says 6 inches here? Will there be widespread 6 inches of snow? That's usually unlikely the way these things work out, but usually they show up in much and very narrow bands of heavier snow. So what we're going to see is a band of snow capable of being upwards of 6 inches deep in some spots, maybe a little more in a couple, and mainly less in many others. It'll be a heavy, wet variety of snow, and it goes right into places like New Orleans as we go into the day here. If you look at the time clock at the top, we're starting into Wednesday morning here. So that's when the snowfall accumulation will be wrapped up by Wednesday morning throughout places like southern Louisiana near the New Orleans area and down into the coastal areas of Texas. Now we'll move the map view over as we follow this storm over into the southeastern United States as we go into the middle of the week. So here you're looking at Wednesday. The snowfall accumulations really begin right here, starting to accumulate in the panhandle of Florida as we go into your Wednesday midnight hour, and then overnight into your Wednesday morning. That's when the snowfall could be on the ground for places like, look at this, southern Georgia, southern parts of Mississippi and Alabama, seeing that, including Tupelo, all the way down into Dothan and areas such as that. Now, there could be some coastal snow showers in and around South Carolina, all the way up the coast into North Carolina. The snowfall amounts here are lower than they would be, or what we're seeing out where we see the pink colors out there near Louisiana, but we still could see a good couple of inches of snowfall, wet, heavy snow working its way in. Now, if we focus on these temperatures and wind chills for you folks in the deep south, check this out. As we see the snow system working its way in on your Tuesday, that's going to pull in north winds. Here comes the coldest of the air into Louisiana as we go into your Tuesday morning. Temperatures there will be, look at this, mid 20s and low 20s, and we could be close to the teens. Look at that. Teens in northern Louisiana and southern parts of Arkansas as we go into your Wednesday morning. So brutally cold temperatures in the deep south. Most of northern Florida seeing the same as we go through that time period. Now, factor in the winds and looking at the wind chill, or actually as this system works more coastally, here we go into Wednesday and Thursday morning. These are the temperatures that we'll see on Wednesday morning. We're talking 20s. Low to mid 20s across most of Georgia and most of South Carolina and North Carolina as we go into the midweek time frame. Midweek time frame, look at the panhandle of Florida, also seeing mighty cold temperatures. Factor in any wind at all, and the wind chill is a temperature that it feels like on exposed skin when we have cold air and wind blowing over your skin. Now, we're seeing these pink colors here, single digit above zero wind chills on Monday morning, so for tomorrow, for most of Mississippi and Alabama. That moves out as the system moves through with the snow midweek. Look at these Wednesday morning wind chills near zero. Near zero, so 5 degrees to 10 above for the coastal cities here near New Orleans. And then as you get inland just a little bit, we could see those wind chills drop down to near zero in places. Then after the snow on Wednesday pushes into parts of the southeastern United States, I anticipate some of you will see wind chills in the teens below zero. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson with 30 years of broadcast experience on television. I'm now streaming. I love to bring the meteorological view, share with you some of the insights that meteorologists use when we're forecasting such things as snow. We talked a little bit about that today with what looked like a wide band of 6 inches of snowfall in parts of Louisiana. Usually we see narrower bands with those higher amounts. We could see a few places with a little more than that, but keep in mind something there that's definitely going to impact travel, and it will stick around for a little while, folks, because of the cold air coming behind that system as the north winds take hold. Thanks for watching me. You can see more about me by following me on my Facebook page. Check out Hutch Johnson, Chief Meteorologist. Press the follow button there. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for thinking of subscribing to my YouTube channel to hear more information. You can click the little dingle bell and you'll get notifications when Hutch has new information for you. And my website is always on hutchesweather.com.